Kamusta po mga kasikan? Master Crisanto Cuevas po ulit ng GSF Raven Sikaran. So yung po mga nauna nating post tungkol sa mga batas regarding Sikaran, narinig naman po ninyo na meron na pong Sikaran Ordinance 002 Series 2010 na pinasa po ng ating mga gagaling ng mga board member sa Rizal sa pangunguna ni board member Dino Tanwatco. So doon po sa unang episode natin ay ang Sikaran po ay may title na Ordinance shall be known as the Sikaran Ordinance of 2010 na dinideklara po na ang Sikaran ay maging provincial sports ng ating lalawigan. So ngayon po mga kasikad, meron po tayong Ordinance 002 na ginawa ng ating mga butihing board member sa Rizal. Meron din po tayong Senate Bill. Ito po ay may number na 3193. Ito po ay inintroduce ni Senator Manuel Lito Lapid noong 2009. So ito pong Senate Bill na ito ay may short title po na Sikaran Martial Art 2009. So yun po, narinig niyo po mga kasikad na meron na rin pong Senate Bill ang ating Sikaran. So magandang balita po yan. Pero nakakalungkot po dahil 2009 pa. Wala pong naging implementation. Pero gumagawa po ang pamunuan ng Global Sikaran Federation sa pangunguna ng ating butihing Grandmaster si Harry Osias Banaan na magkaroon ng implementation itong Senate Bill na ito at para mapakinabangan ng lahat ng player sa buong Pilipinas. So dito po sa nilalaman na ito ay babanggitin po dito sa video ito kung ano at magkano ang budget ng Sikaran para sa pangkalahatan o buong Pilipinas. Nakakagulat po mga kasikat at nakakalula ang presyo na sana po ay maayos po ito at sana ay matulungan tayo ng mga kaibigan natin sa Kongreso para ito ay maamyendahan at makuha natin ang budget para sa Sikaran at patuloy natin mapaunlad at mapalago ng gusto ang sariling atin na Sikaran na meron po tayo mga magagaling na player na dapat nating i-develop at yan po ay sa tulong po ng ating mga kaibigan dyan sa Kongreso ay maniniwala po kami na ito po ay magkakaroon ng katuparan. So yun po mga kasikat ang gusto kong iparating sa inyo na ang grupo po ng Global Sikaran Federation ay gumagawa po ng lahat at ng paraan para ma-promote ang sariling atin ang Sikaran. Ito po ay nationwide na. Sa katunayan po ay marami na kaming mga branches. Umabot na po yan ng 13 branches sa iba't ibang bansa. At kami po ay nagkakaroon ng mga yearly competition. Sa katunayan po ngayong March ay meron po kaming international virtual form competition. So, gusto ko lang pong iparating sa ating mga kasikat na magandang balita po ang nilalaman ng Senate Bill na ito. So, hindi ko na po hahabaan at para marinig niyo po at may balita nyo sa ating mga kapatid sa Sikaran.
14th Congress of the Republic of the Philippines, Second Regular Session, Senate Number 3193. Introduced by Senator Manuel Lito M. Lapid. An act promoting Sikaran martial arts, an indigenous foot fighting martial arts system, providing mechanisms and programs for its preservation and promotion, appropriating funds therefore and for other purpose. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines and Congress assembled. Section 1. Short title. This act shall be known as the Sikaran Martial Arts Act of 2009. Section 2. Declaration of State Policy. It is hereby declared the policy of the state to promote indigenous Filipino martial arts and sports and develop Filipino martial arts fighters to become international champions. As such, the state shall promote policies that will preserve our country's indigenous martial arts and enhance the skills of Filipino fighters in the field of Sikaran martial arts through systematic method of training and proper exposure in international competitions. Section 3. Integration in the physical education curriculum. In order to mainstream, promote, and popularize Sikaran martial arts in the country, all primary, secondary, and tertiary public and private educational institutions are mandated to include Sikaran as a required subject in its physical education curriculum. Section 4. Mainstreaming and Sikaran martial arts in various national sporting events. In order to mainstream Sikaran martial arts as one of the country's indigenous martial arts, it shall be included as one of the sporting categories in the Palarong Panlalawigan and Palarong Pambansa events being held in the country. All educational institutions and public offices are hereby enjoined to give their support to the celebration by conducting their respective activities with remarkable participation from all their students. The Philippine Sports Commission and Games and Amusement Board, in coordination with the Department of Education, shall assist the implementing agencies in the conduct of various national sporting activities to mainstream and promote Sikaran martial arts as one of the country's indigenous martial arts. Section 5. Creation of a Sikaran National Training Institute. To carry out the above policy, there is hereby created a Sikaran National Training Institute, hereinafter referred to as the Training Institute. Section 6. Functions of the Sikaran National Training Institute. The Sikaran National Training Institute shall have the following functions. A. To serve as a hub to identify and recruit Sikaran fighters to be trained and developed both as amateur and professional athletes in the field of martial arts. B. To enhance the ability of Sikaran fighters by providing them with scientific training programs and proper health and nutrition. C. To provide physical training facilities to aspiring and active amateur and professional Sikaran fighters. D. To train professional Sikaran coaches, trainers, and referees. E. To provide assistance and support to Sikaran fighters who participate in internationally acclaimed tournaments, as well as prepare Sikaran fighters for any upcoming local or international bouts. F. To enter into and engage in a consortium with public and private schools offering training courses in physical education and sports. G. To hire highly skilled coaches and trainers experienced in preparing Sikaran fighters to compete in international competitions. H. To establish and maintain linkages with international sports academies for its continuous upgrading through exchange programs or the availment of Sikaran special training programs. And I. To perform such other functions and exercise such as other powers necessary to carry out the provisions of this Act. Section 7. Supervision of the Sikaran National Training Institute. The Sikaran National Training Institute, as herein established, shall be under the direction and supervision of the Games and Amusement Board. It shall be headed by an academy director who shall be appointed jointly by the chairman of the Games and Amusement Board and the chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission for a term of 3 years, unless sooner removed for cause. Section 8. Sikaran National Training Institute Board. The Board of SNTI shall be composed of the Chairman of the Games and Amusement Board and Chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission as co-chairman, and 5 regular members to be appointed by the President. The 5 regular members shall be composed of 4 representatives from the duly accredited Sikaran federations in the country, which possesses reputable standing in the field of Sikaran martial arts, and 1 representative from the Academe. The 4 regular members shall be nominated by the duly accredited SIKARAN Federation of the country. The SNTI board shall serve as the policy-making body of the institute to be vested with the authority to come up with SIKARAN training programs, training modules, and such other activities of the training institute in attaining its objectives as provided for in this act. The SNTI shall be responsible in the allocation, disbursement, and management of the disposition of the SIKARAN Fund as provided under Section 10 of this Act, consistent with existing Commission on Audit rules and regulations. The SNTI Board shall likewise be responsible for the accreditation, training, and certification of SIKARAN fighters, trainers, instructors, coaches, and referees in accordance with the set guidelines it shall establish. Section 9. Annual SIKARAN Roadshow. There shall be a SIKARAN Roadshow in the form of provincial, regional, and national tournaments to be conducted in a year-round basis in various provinces and cities in the country. The tournament shall be open to all local aspiring SIKARAN fighters where the activity is currently being held for purposes of identifying local potential talents to be recruited as trainees to the SNTI. Section 10. SIKARAN Fund. There is hereby established a SIKARAN Fund which shall be used to promote the SIKARAN martial arts as an indigenous martial arts in the country. The funding for the SIKARAN Fund shall come from the following sources. A. An appropriation from the national government of not less than 20 million pesos annually for at least 5 years from the time of its constitution. B. 10 million pesos, which shall come from the 50% annual net income of the Duty-Free Philippine Corporation. C. 10 million pesos, which shall come from the national government share remitted by the international airports and seaports to the National Treasury pursuant to the Republic Act Number 7658, and D. From various donations and grants received by the SIKARAN National Training Institute from its promotional activities. Section 11. Allocation. There is hereby authorized to be appropriated for the construction, establishment, and management of the SIKARAN National Training Institute the amount of 20 million pesos for the initial operations of the Training Institute. Thereafter, such amount needed to manage, supervise, and implement this act shall be included in the Annual Appropriations Act of GAB. Section 12. Implementing Rules and Regulations. Within 90 days from the date of effectivity of this Act, the Games and Amusement Board, jointly with the Philippine Sports Commission, in coordination with the Department of Education, in consultation with duly accredited SIKARAN federations in the country, shall promulgate the necessary implementing rules and regulations for the effective implementation of the provisions of this Act. Section 13. Repealing Clause. Any law, presidential decree, issuance, executive order, letter of instruction, rules or regulations or portions thereof inconsistent with the provisions of this Act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Section 14. Separability Clause. If any provision of this Act or the application of such provision to any person or circumstances is held invalid, the remainder of this Act or the application of such provision to other persons or circumstances shall not be affected thereby. Section 15. Effectivity Clause. This Act shall take effect 15 days from the date of its publication in at least 2 newspapers of general circulation.
Yan po mga kasigat, narinig niyo po ang nilalaman ng Senate Bill 3193. Napakaganda po, di po ba? So kung kayo po ay bago pa lang dito sa aking channel, ay huwag niyo po kalimutan mag-subscribe at i-click po lang ang notification bell para lagi po kayong updated sa mga bago kong video na ina-upload. Yun lang po mga kasikad, at mabuhay po tayong lahat. Stay safe, stay healthy. Pugay po sa inyo mga kasikad.